Tom Rogic going back to his old team this week. Is he going to recognise any of them?
You'll have to ask him. It's not my concern. I'm not too bothered.
What about planning to face a team that's had quite a few changes in the transfer window?
We've probably been disrupted ourselves over the last 6-7 weeks just as much as anyone. So yeah, the preparations have been good, to be honest. They've brought quite a few bodies in. So in terms of personnel, who starts, at this point in time is irrelevant. We've just got to get ourselves right and our structure right. And the last time I dare say we went there, we put on a good performance.
Is Milligan travelling and coming off the bench?
Milligan's travelling, whether he's coming off the bench or what, I don't know yet, but he's in the squad to travel.
Are you amazed by how good he looks so quickly?
Yeah, I mean, but he's a very determined boy, and he's got a lot going on, and he's been disappointed that he hasn't been able to help his teammates over the last 3 or 4 weeks. But yeah, he's done very well, in his rehab, and worked very hard to put himself in a position. Whether this week's a week too soon for him, time will tell. He's been put through a gruelling session this morning, so we'll see how he pulls up in the morning.
Do you think you saw more signs of your structure getting right last week than you had in those 2 horror shows before?
Yeah, without doubt. I thought in the first half, especially we dominated and were able to stop them from playing. And as the game wore on, away to Perth, after the 2 results that we did have, we had 3 very good chances to score the winner, but it wasn't to be. But yeah, I was pleased with most parts of the game last week.
Same starting 11 or a little tweak here and there?
Well, at this point in time, we're still waiting on 1 or 2. As I said, Millsy, we're going to give him every opportunity. James Choice, he comes into the reckoning also. Costa's not available, so there won't be any change there. But all in all, hopefully we get a settled, start getting into a settled formation. Because as I said, since a week or 2 prior to Christmas, I don't think we've been able to, settle on a starting 11 for one reason or another.
What's the go with Costa?
He went over his ankle. Late last week, so obviously ruled him out of that game. And again, he's going really well, but it's definitely a week too soon for him.
Have you or will you have an eye on the Asian Champions League qualifier the week after at all this week in terms of your management of players and their minutes and that sort of stuff?
No, not really. No, in terms of that, from that perspective, no, because we've got a full week to prepare for a game next week, and obviously behind the scenes, there's people have been given responsibilities in preparation for that. But my whole focus has been on travelling to Central Coast tomorrow night and bringing the 3 points back to Melbourne.
Okay, but first half of the season, everyone was talking up victory as real contenders, and you took those 2 heavy defeats. Did you notice any real drop in confidence in the squad, or has their mindset changed? Are they perhaps not taking things for granted now in a way that they might have done before? Well,
there's a couple of questions there, Michael. We're probably
Mufti talent.
Yeah, no, we're touted as favourites every season, regardless. It's just the nature of the football club we're at. In relation to the 2 results, I'm not looking back anymore. We've dealt with them, and without doubt, during that period, that confidence does suffer a bit. But last week gave us a different type of confidence, and like I said, we'll go to Central Coast tomorrow to bring 3 points back to Melbourne and put out a team that's going to go and attack.
Adrian Lay is available again, but surely you don't want to change the defence yet again. Do you want to stick with the same one?
Yeah, look, like I said, it's probably the first opportunity I've had in 6 or 7 weeks to keep the same back 4, let alone the same team. So I thought we defended relatively well last week, and those 4 boys will be given another opportunity to succeed.
What have you been missing with Mark out of the side, Kev?
Oh, look, I'd rather focus on the boys who have been playing, to be honest. But if you want to talk about individuals, I think it explains itself. Mark's an integral part of this football team, and he's a quality footballer. So, first and foremost, his quality as a footballer, but he brings a lot of other qualities to the side, and it's good to have him back in the reckoning.
It was a hectic January. You guys were one of the least busiest teams, I guess. Did you contemplate signing any more players? Could you have signed more players?
Look, without going into the details, of it, we looked at a number of things, and we did manage to bring a Tommy in, and we're pleased with that. It gives us an added body in an area where we were probably needing some strengthening. But I think the squad at the moment that we've got is good enough to compete and go on and push for honours this season.
What do you make of the Mariners? They were obviously, I mean, they pretty much every January lose a bunch of players, but they've brought in, I think, 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Including Bosman and Green. So what do you make of their transfer dealings?
Yeah, again, I mean, I don't know exactly in terms of numbers, and bodies. I don't really focus on other teams too much, but Moss has obviously felt the need to get some bodies and bolster his squad, and so be it. They'll maintain that they won't lose too much, but from our perspective, like I said, it's about what we do, and like I said, last time we went to Central Coast, we put in a really good performance, and we're looking for a repeat of that.
Is Adrian travelling?
Adrian's in the squad and travelling, yes.
So will he be coming off the bench? And is it a situation with the Yellows, or is it purely the consistency in defence?
We're talking hypotheticals. I don't know if he'll be coming off the bench. I don't, at this point in time, I can't make that call. But he is definitely available, and he's in the travelling part, and he's part of the squad.
With the run, Kev, just in the last few weeks, I mean, do you go up there thinking a point is a good result from this trip?
Again, it just comes down to your philosophy on football, and it's not in the it's not in the club's blueprint. It's not in my nature to go up there and if we go up there and try and win and we come back with a point, maybe we'd be relatively happy and try and understand why we didn't take all 3. But going there for a point is not something I preach to the players, and you're admitting defeat as far as I'm concerned, and you're putting yourself in the back foot. Having said that, going there to win a game of football, we've got to be good within our structures and play well against a team that's most of the time very good at home.